Did you finish this as well?
It's not getting completely refinished. My finisher is in the middle of doing a reconditioning of the finish. It had a lot of veneer damage. So this is all new veneer right here.
That little, all the older ones have that little cut.
Yeah, there's a nice little line there. Yeah, the piano's got more modern. They did away with all the, like for instance, look at the B. See that leg in the B?
Yeah.
That 70s B. It's just very straight, no detail. Look at this one. This is, we call that a window pane leg. They used that up through the 30s.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
beautiful.
nice.
You know, yeah, mine's like that, isn't it?
And for instance, that piano next door to the B is a 1904 model O. Same as this. Look at that. Nice detailed music. That's Steinway. Steinway on.
Oh, beautiful.
You know, all this. So as the years went by, in the back I'll show you we've got an 1896 Model C, which is a very ornate Victorian case. But see, look at this nice little strip. You can see it.
Yeah.
See it over there. Just that little bit of molding going around just gives this piano a much more graceful look.
I've seen them where this is right here.
Yeah.
And then it has a tulip style
Leg. Yeah.
to it. I really like those.
That would be just a few years older. This is '04, and that would have been, in 1901. You might have seen that much detail. So the detail was vanishing quickly.
My first piano was an A. It was an 1883.
Oh wow! So it must have.
It had it was pretty neat,
ornate.
but it was an
85 note.
85 note, and the action on it was shot, and I think something was wrong with the soundboard. I ended up trading it in on the piano right now. So.
What do you have now?
It's a B. It's from the crappy years. It's an 81. And it's
well, you got here. Well, you were here for the discussion about that. We didn't see. We don't think there are any. Well, there were definitely some years where things didn't go as well as they should have at the factory. But we can correct anything. We've decided. I mean, we don't think there are any bad vintages anymore because I've restored enough pianos now from the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s that they all come out, with the same. I don't think there are any bad Steinways. They're just,
I agree.
they didn't execute the design the way they should have. And if we, my team here can take it apart and put it back together the way it was meant to be put together, you'll get a great result. So the typical rebuilt Steinway is not like these pianos. It's had a lot of. It just hasn't had as many hours put in.
Is that soundboard a Steinway soundboard?
It's a exact duplication of the soundboard that was in there. So you don't buy them from Steinway. We don't make soundboards here. That soundboard was duplicated by a soundboard maker to our spec.
If you sent a piano to Steinway has a refurbishing.
They do. They have a big rebuilding facility.
Do they make a new soundboard there, or do they do the same thing here?
No, they would just put in a new soundboard of the current model. They wouldn't duplicate one. When you send a piano to Steinway for restoration, I've seen plenty of pianos that have gone through their restoration center. You get a different. What they do. It's weird. They don't really restore pianos. They try and remanufacture them. So, for instance, if you sent this beautiful Model O to Steinway for rebuilding, it would come back with a brass hinge because they don't do nickel anymore. And it would come with nickel-plated tuning pins, which is what they currently use, which isn't what was in this piano originally. They wouldn't do any of this nice detail on the plate, all this hand lettering. I mean, they do some of it, but not. They're just not. They're not really restoring. They're just sort of putting in what goes into their new models. And honestly, they restore the pianos the way they make them, which I think even today is not as good as the good old days, and certainly not as good as we can do here. Because our philosophy is, and we're getting the customer to pay for it, of course, is to get everything we can from one of these pianos. And they have tremendous potential, but you have to put in a tremendous amount of hours. These pianos all have 300 plus hours of labor in the restoration, and that's far more hours than they ever spent building them. But so people say, well, what are you guys nuts? Why do you do this? But we think the result is pretty spectacular, and the clients want it. You know, this woman had owned this piano for 20 years and been frustrated with it for 20 years. It never played very well. It certainly didn't sound very good. And you know, she was faced with either a restoration like this, which is probably in the neighborhood of $35,000, or trying to go out and find a replacement. And you can't touch it piano for that. She already
You also run the risk of the new one having a different issue.
Exactly. So it takes our clients a sort of a leap of faith to bite the bullet and say, okay, go ahead and restore my piano. But you know, if you come visit often enough and play enough pianos, you know, you get that. You have to get the faith. You have to have the faith.